This video gives a shout out to Vinson Visions. He does 3D sets, My Little Pony 3D models, and videos. Linked to his channel in the description below. Hello and welcome. This is Phazon Dude 117 here with my first one-of-a-kind movie review. Now, particularly, we'll be reviewing My Little Pony Equestrian Girls Rainbow Rocks. Now, don't mind me, this is my OC character. I thought I'd just throw in something in the video that way you guys don't get bored. Anyways, this review will be a bit different than most people's out there. Instead of using ratings based on numbers, for example 5 out of 5 stars or 80% or C or A+, I'm going to either give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down on a variety of different categories that I'll be reviewing. In the end, I'll determine if the movie is worth watching, a thumbs up, or not worth watching, a thumbs down. Now, I split in the review into 5 different categories. I'll explain these categories into depth when I get to them. Now, before I get started on my first category, I would like to keep in mind that I am not a professional movie critic. This is my first time doing a movie review, so don't take anything I say too seriously, because especially I have no movie nor animation experience, and this is completely 100% my honest opinion. And again, like I said, this is my first review, so please don't be harsh on me, please. No more hate. So okay, onwards to the first category. The first category I'd like to talk about is pictures, which deals with visuals, animation, style, colors, smoothness, settings, and theme. Well, the first thing I would like to point out is that I do love the intro. I think that the direction they went with the introduction, the intro credit, was amazing and spectacular, and I think it's better than the first movie's introduction. So I'd just like to quickly point that out. But overall, as a whole, the animation was spectacular. I love how they presented with the animation. It was more smoother. You can tell that they had more time to work on in the animations than the first movie. And it made that their body movements seem more natural, that, you know, opening doors and picking up things, small things like that are noticeable but not a big difference. They really do change overall how the video is presented. Now, you can tell from the get-go that it has a variety of colors and designs. It makes it have a good eye candy appearance towards the audience, or towards me. You know, in terms of color, they had an abundance of combinations that honestly fit well with the theme and setting, and it didn't feel awkward at all. You know, houses, walls, graphics, all done well. Give credit when credit is due. You know, I love the directions going with that. If I were to pick one or two things that I would like to complain about, there isn't much to complain about this category. Is maybe they could have worked on the presentation better. Maybe if they gave more in-depth detail about the setting and what was occurring in the introduction, maybe I could have, you know, put this category as flawless. But, you know, just a little improvement on the presentation. And maybe they could have added more effects such as lighting. Like, if you recall back at season 4, the premiere of season 4, when they're at the Canterlot Castle, they had these window panes that were shining through with sunlight, and the sunlight was being reflected and had this big aura around the ponies. That could have been needed here in this movie, or it could have made just the visuals a bit better, you know. But it's just one little small picky thing that I decided to pick out, but it's not much of a difference. So I like to say this about the category, that it deserves a thumbs up here. So let's go on to the next category. This category has to deal with sound effects and sounds. I know sounds are the most infamous categories in both movies and in video games. But however, this category is just as important as any other ones, because the sounds and sound effects can really bring out life into characters, into the settings, and into objects. So don't underestimate the power of sounds. So the thing I have to say about sounds in terms of this movie is that sounds were okay, you know. The rubbing of the clothes, walking, painting, opening doors, natural sounds like those were okay, but for the most part they were below my expectations. I feel like the development of the sounds were a bit rushed, because it really lacked the immersion that I needed from this movie. Because let's recall back at season 4 premiere, that scene where Celestia gets hit with Luna and she falls into the castle there. The ambience, the sound of the tears dropping and the crying echoing through the room, those were sounds that really brought emotions and made myself immersed to that scene. Now, I was trying to look for that same immersion from what I saw in the season 4 premiere from this movie, but I really didn't capture that immersion that I really was expecting it. So it kind of left me a bit disappointed in this category. So unfortunately, I'm gonna go with thumbs out for this category. There's not much to say about this, but I hope that they do more improvement in terms of sound for the season 5 or the next pony animation. So onwards to the next category. The next category deals with music, and I know many of you expect for me to say a lot about this category, but in fact there's not much to talk about this category. It's pretty much straightforward. All their music, there's about like 7 or 8 music, including the intro and the credits, give or take, kind of. There's a lot of soundtrack that were played in this movie, and I find them all to be very catchy. I love the variety that they implemented in these scenes, especially in the introduction and at the outro. You can tell they had more time to work with the instruments and musics here, because, you know, it's Rainbow Rocks. It's gonna deal with music. Of course, it's gonna be phenomenal in this category. Now, most of these music, hopefully they'll be releasing them on iTunes so I can have them on my phone to listen to. So that way, these music are memorable. I love the vocals, and I love how they sing in front of the audience here. So I found that to be very spectacular. The only thing I'll have, it's not even a complaint, it's just a little thing I noticed, is maybe they could have just it's a bit repetitive after a while once you hear like the 7th song. So you're like, yeah, another song. You know, usually in the normal pony episode, I could take up to like 6 songs. You know, Pinky's Pride, that episode is weird, cheese sandwich. Yeah, I like that whole episode because it had about like 6-7 songs. But when it has like 8 or 9, it gets a bit, you know, repetitive. But I'm not complaining at all. But in this category, it's a definite thumbs up for me. I do love it, and I hope they keep consistent with their music. I love the music they did here. Well, onwards to the next category. Now, this category deals with story, and the story deals with how the storyline connects from the beginning of the movie to the end. Is it interesting? Is it fluent? Is it consistent? Do questions rise while watching the movie? If so, do they get answered near the end? And how the character develops relationships towards the viewers. Now, this is your average story. The movie is about a typical group of evil individuals that want more power to spread havoc and chaos. So in order to get more power, they sing, they get more power, but it's not enough. They notice that the main 6 have more power than them, and the main 6 notice that they're trying to take the power away from them, and they try to stop the bad guys, and in the end, spoiler alerts, they do succeed. Yeah, there isn't much to talk about in terms of the storyline. Sure, they briefly explain some backstory about the evil characters, but that's about it. In terms of story, there's not much that's happening, and there's not much development occurring in the story itself in comparison with the first movie. So it makes it not that much interesting, and it's not they don't give much interaction towards the viewers and the character in the movie. Also, I noticed that they could have given Ponyville a bit more screen time. It's unfortunate, but 95% of the movie occurs in Canterlot High. In the human world, this is me in particular, I'm a bit disappointed about that. I was really expecting more screen times for the Pony universe, you know. I expected more consistency about the realities they had from human world to the pony world, and more interaction between their dimensions. It's unfortunate though. I really wanted the main 6 from the pony world to be in the human world too, you know, have those people meet themselves. That would be so interesting. It had so much potential, but it really wasn't consistent, you know. It was very repetitive because, for example, I'll give an example. If you recall back at season 4, Twilight always complains about her wings, how she don't always have control about her wings, that she's a newbie. Even throughout midway through the season 4, she's even admits that she still has issues with flying. But not for Twilight when she enters the human world, you know. She only entered the human world once, and she enters again, and look, bam, she could easily just walk just like that. It's like she has complete knowledge and control about how to use her body. But they do mention, you know, well, they don't mention, they do show that Twilight still can't write with her handwriting, so she uses her mouth to write in some scenes. But for the most part, how in the world can Twilight control her body just by one visit? Come on. she can't even control her wings yet in the season 4 series, so they're not consistent with that. So it also lacks originality because there's not much to go here in terms of story. This movie is non-canon, and this is supposed to be part of this main storyline. So I'm not gonna give too much, I'm not gonna give too much harsh review on this because it's understandable. This is not supposed to be a canon storyline. It's not supposed to be a part of the main story, so it's just there to appease the fan base and gain a little pocket change, if you know what I mean. But hey, it's still, it still gets thumbs down for that, but I'm not gonna judge it too harshly. So onward to the next category. Now the final category is impact. This has to do more about me than the movie itself, because impact is about how the movie impacted you. What did you get from this, and how was it significant towards you? Will you watch it more than once? Now I do love the number of references they put out for the fan base. I like how they still want, Hasbro still do care about us, even though they're doing this for the money. They still care about us. They put out references for us to look at, but for the most part, it wasn't really memorable to me. It kept the same message about friendship. By working together as teamwork and maintaining friendship towards each other, you can, succeed in anything. It's the same message. I understand. Many people. I already had many talks about this towards many people, so it's the same message, and for the most part, I cannot relate. Like, I don't know if you guys seen the My Little Dashie movie or even heard the audiobook. Many people like that story because they could relate to it, because it's a sad, gloomy story in itself, but many people can relate to it because it's what many people have been through or is going through right now. But I can't see anything from Rainbow Rocks that I could relate to. I mean, it's just another unfortunately, it's just another movie for me. It keeps the same repetitive story. It's unoriginal. It's just there to make, like I said before, it's a money maker. It's loose change and appease to fan base, But again, this is just my personal feeling, and this is what I got from the movie. Is it worth watching more than once? Yeah, it's worth watching. With your friends and family. I brought my little sister to the movie. I had fun, and I watched it again after I went to the theater. So no, I didn't watch it in the theaters. I couldn't watch it, on YouTube. But I watched it again. It was worth it. But will I watch it 3, 4, 5 more times in the future? Probably not. But maybe for to review or for educational purposes. I won't watch it for entertainment purposes. So I'm gonna give this category a thumbs down. But overall, I think it's still worth watching with your friends and families at least twice. Once in the movie theaters and twice at the comfort at your own home, whether it's on DVD or on the bootleg YouTube version. Although there's a lot of negative reviews on these categories that I made in this video, they still do not outweigh the good that I got from this movie. And I think it's still worth watching. Give it a shot. Tell me what you think. If you've already seen it, please post a comment in the video below to say if either you agree with me, disagree with me, why not. So I hope you find this video helpful, and I'll see you hopefully when I make more video or movie reviews. Thank you for watching. I hope I'll see you next time. Thanks.